Lights Camera Diaspora is a U.S. nonprofit. What we do is we basically share skill sets of gentlemen like yourself, professionals around the U.S. with those on the continent in Africa, trying to develop more cohesive communities behind the scenes. Most of our stuff started out production in terms of lighting, camera, sound, grip, stuff like that, but it's also spreading out to writing, producing, director, casting, stuff like that. And you gentlemen are part of helping to obviously share information amongst the US, but we're also expecting folks from the continent in Paul's sound circle over there to call in as well. So you are helping locally and internationally to help share information. And we are glad to have you and thank you. And then Aaron, pick up and then we'll introduce ourselves after.
Sure. My name is Aaron Sadler. I'm the audio supervisor up in New York. I work on shows such as Project Runaway, Top Chef, Forge and Fire, and some feature films, independent feature films from time to time. I have been in the situation where our business has been very slow, obviously, since I would say April, but things are starting to finally pick up under the umbrella of these very important COVID mediation and protocols. And we are about to start up on Top Chef, which is a very huge show, up to 24 people, 7 cameras, grips, gaffers, art department, a huge show. So this will be my first show back, and we are undertaking very extreme COVID protocols, masking, hand sanitizers, washing all our gear, keeping it clean, social distancing, even keeping our sound mixers, we have a big stage, separated and masking up. And it's going to be a challenge, but we're sort of going into this thing ourselves as doctors, going into sort of an operation room and just being very cognizant of, you know, having our PPE clothes on and our gloves and our masks and separation as well, sort of like a clinical approach.
Right.
I've been doing sound for coming up on 20 years. So I've been in this game for a hot minute, and I've definitely seen the technology shift from the analog world, the digital audio world, to now network audio and some remote audio situations as well. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Andre.
Hello.
What's your story?
I'm Andreologan, sound mixer here in New York. I started off as freelance, field location stuff. Got in independence. Was a boom op. Then jumped on in other indie movies, Pariah, Big Shot Calls, such as that as a mixer, and then ended up in the reality world, and then went back into that realm. And now I am 4 years now. I've been Complex Networks head sound engineer. We have a studio now, so I'm doing that. I'm in there, technically not in there. I'm remote recording, and I've switched gears to pinning videos and ISO recording and helping out talent set up their mic if they have the external mic available. But for the most part, this year has been obviously a difficult one, and sort of we wondered how we were going to pivot. But Complex pivoted a lot to Zoom recordings, and so I can call myself an expert now at Zoom setups.
That is a great skill set.
Yes. And I'll say this, thank God, right before we shut down everything in the office in March, they were giving us updates since the end of January. I'll give Complex kudos on this. They were keeping us up to date with what was going on. And as the show that one of the shows I work on, Everyday Struggle, started to wonder if we were to be sent home, what would we do? And they gave us the program Zoom, and we started, just playing around with it.
Yeah.
And luckily, as a group, Complex didn't know what they were going to do in the sense of home recordings. But because of us playing with that ahead of time, we were like, this could actually work for whatever. So, and that turned into, you know, everybody on, you know, complex side pivoting towards, and right now everybody somewhat gets it because we're able to get our guest in front of the camera for 15, 20 minutes. Because for digital media, that's all you really need.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, it's coming along. It's coming along. So there's also that push that now that things are getting back to phase 4 and bigger groups being allowed to be within each other, obviously with social distancing rules, we're giving some PPE materials or COVID materials, which allowed us to then take a test and become like health monitors for set.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we have that. So once things get going back at the studio and complex, we all would be able to enforce the social distancing and setting up the protective equipment for everybody on set, and it's already agreed upon. Like Aaron said, for our we're having all the sound guys. My A2 will have a shield, and
Right.
you know we're going to go in shield and mask no matter what for us, just in case we have to go to re-mic or to mic. Period. And
Yeah.
yes, wiping down everything. Lots and lots of Lysol. And, so that stuff will be used.
I'm making some notes. I want to come back to some of that. Something you said and something Aaron said. Okay. Brother Paul.
Yeah. Hey. Hello.
Thanks for putting
Hello.
this together, Paul.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. I knew it would be like a great resource for the continent, you know. I'm interested in hearing you know, what they've been doing. From what I'm seeing on WhatsApp, they've been shooting. And like, you know, that doesn't stop. They go. So, you know, maybe they would have some insights as well later on. But as you know, well, I'm Paul Reed. I'm a mixer in Atlanta, and I'm from New York. And I actually had the opportunity to work on 2 productions thus far that everyone else was on Zoom and I had to be on set because they were frustrated with actors figuring out frequencies, micing themselves properly.
Right. They could place a light on a stand, but to get a microphone right is a different skill set.
It were, you know, the first production I worked on was called Social Distancing, and the production or the head sound mixer on that put together packages that were where he was able to switch frequencies via the network with Wireless Designer.
Right.
On what he had was the new D squared receiver, and then he also had a Mix Pre 6 as well, right? And then it was designed to send to the actor, and they will pull out this drawer, and the transmitters are all set up, and they had all their stickies there. And they even have live bullets. It was really neat the way they set it up. I'll post a picture on here. And they could actually change frequencies and actually record over the internet, which I thought was crazy. But still, actors were like, no, send somebody to do this.
Right.
So being the only person on set, I had Zoom, and as we know, these Netflix and production companies and the unions, they're all trying to figure out what happens or who's responsible if everyone gets sick, right? So they're taking all these protocols seriously. And it's kind of vague because they don't know how close I'm supposed to be to the actors. Am I allowed to touch the same things that they've touched? So I had like gloves on, alcohol pads, I'm wiping everything down. you know, and actually instructing them on how to mic themselves.
Yes.
Which,
yeah.
we just had to do it. I mean, as much as I wanted to get in there and do it, I had to instruct them on how to do it. And it worked well. I used the right code stickies. Those seem to work well when you're instructing people. Because all they got to do is peel it, looks cool, okay, boom, right? As far as like mic placement, by the way, this whole show was via FaceTime. It was like a FaceTime type of show, almost to what we're doing right here, right? Mm-hmm. So I could place a boom mic and then walk away, but we couldn't be in the same room at the same time. And sure. I had the Zoom, everyone was on Zoom call, and we used screen share for the actual shot, and they were using Filmic Pro, a new app that is become very popular now, just like Zoom, for film production. And I just had to be aware. I had to be aware of where I was because I didn't know who was watching the Zoom, right? And I didn't want to be, they didn't want us in the house at all. So all the actors had to come outside, and I had to instruct them on micing themselves, wipe everything down, you know.
You were on set, but you were not inside.
No, I was outside. I ran antennas. Antennas are like the best thing now. Right. I mean, they all have been, but, you know, usually when we didn't really need antennas, we could just be within range.
Sure.
Right.
That's not really an option anymore.
Damn.
Yeah. So, and the second shoot was very similar to this, right? Like the sound, they needed sound there. And so the actors set up their own shot on the FaceTime, and I just connected the boom, placed the boom. And even that, like a lot of times I would want to man the boom because people kind of sway when they, you know, or the sound environment, we would go in and turn off refrigerators, turn off ACs, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't want us in the same place. So a lot of times we're coaching talent to do that. The things that we would normally go and do ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which is it's so important now, again, to have that proper communication with talent and a sensitive communication with talent because they're being asked.
Relationship.
You know, so yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Right. And I wanted to just kind of highlight some of the protocols that we have to take on ourselves because we do have to look out for ourselves in sound department. A lot of times.
Yeah, I'll hold that for 1 second. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel's there.
Is Ezekiel in Lagos?
Yeah. Hey, Ezekiel.
Let's see. Can we hear you? They don't hear you yet.
Ezekiel, we can't hear you.
How you doing? It's very faint.
I got 3 sound professionals, so I'm gonna shut up. Figure out.
I can hear a little bit. Ezekiel, are your headphones hooked into? Do they have a microphone on them? Try without the headphones. Let me see how you sound without the headphones.
This is exactly what happens, right?
Yeah, I'm not using headphones, so.
Yeah, I'm not using headphones either. But that might be.
I have to use headphones because my computer microphone is broken.
Let me do this. Hear me?
Yeah.
Now, Ezekiel, see you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks to join you. My boss, this Paul. Mr. Paul, my boss.
How you doing, man? It's so good to see you.
Oh, Mr. Paul. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Yes. Let me ask this question. Wireless boom and cord boom? Which one is preferable to use? Is a wireless boom okay to use as a boom or wire on?
Yeah, well,
I mean,
go ahead.
I was going to say, wired boom is always the best, but in a case, in what we're dealing with now, so in what we're dealing with now in COVID, you're trying to do less is more. So a wireless boom would be quicker to set up, but hard wiring is always the best.
Yeah, okay. Wire is the best. Wire is the best. Wire is the best. Okay,
Right.
okay.
But in what we're talking about now, as far as remote recording, I've been going with wireless so that I can get the distance.
Okay.
And then I set up the antennas and the distribution, like what we talked about last time when I was there. I set up a shark fin so that I do have that distance from town.
Right. But Paul, you're on set, and so is the sound mixer, right? The sound mixer is not mixing from another location, or is he with you?
Right. But the capability is there. But for the shoots I did, I was the mixer on set. The lead mixer was in Chicago, and he could see everything I was doing.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, yes, we are not using our wireless sound. Do you hear me?
I hear you now. Have you been working?
In Nigeria.
Right. Have you been on set working since the pandemic?
I just started working last month.
And how was it on? What did you
That's good.
Was it a Nollywood film?
Yeah, in Nigeria. We shot in July. I shot in July.
I'm sorry? Oh, in July.
July.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it different? Did you guys all have to wear masks? What did you guys do differently? How'd you guys operate?
We wear masks. Yes, we wear masks and we have our sanitizer. We have our own sanitizer that we put on our pockets.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
We use sanitizer and face masks.
Face mask, right?
Yeah, face mask and sanitizer.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are they doing a lot of testing before shoots? Any testing before your shoots?
No testing.
No testing. Okay.
No testing.
Okay. Coming in.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. So you were saying that the lead sound mixer was remotely watching you from a separate location from where you were.
Right. He was on Zoom, and he was also, I plugged the wireless hub into the Ethernet, and he was able to see everything. He was able to see the frequencies. He could have recorded.
Yeah.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Man, it was.
And how did you communicate with him? Did you guys have like an intercom over network, or how did you listen to his instructions?
We were so on this call, we had the chat open.
Oh, I see.
And we would talk, via that. I'm gonna post a picture of set up. 1 second. Let me just find it quick. I should have this prepared.
What is that? What is that hub you're talking about that allowed him to see all of your devices?
Right now, I'm pulling up this picture. It's wireless.
Thank you.
I would also recommend watching the Gotham Sound webinar of mixing remotely as well. That's pretty enlightening.
Oh yeah.
I'll repeat that again, Aaron. What was that?
Gotham Sound has a webinar about remote sound mixers, which I found very enlightening.
Good old Gotham.
They were using a program called Unity Connect to connect two computers over the internet, and they were both using Dante to send multi-track signals from New York to another place in the United States.
Copy that.
Using Unity Connect, Dante, and 2 laptop mini computers. I would recommend watching that.
Can you,
Gotham webinar. Got it.
Yeah.
hey, Aaron, can you put a link in the chat for that?
I will do that. I will do that.
And
Now,
Paul,
just for a side, Aaron, where you at? Are you in Brooklyn?
I'm up in the Hudson Valley right now. So just outside of New York. Yeah.
Is that where that's where you work out of and come into the city?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm leaving in a few weeks to go out west for Top Chef. So that's going to be an interesting thing to pull off because, like I said, we have a lot of crew members, a lot of cameras, a lot of sound folks.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's going to be, they're very conscious about the talent getting sick. So we probably will do more pre-miking the wardrobe. You know, we'll work with the wardrobe people, we'll pre-mic the wardrobe, and then we'll walk away. And then they can put their things on and the mic will already be there. So that's the approach that we're taking.
Okay.
And for our contestants, we're going to try to have them mic themselves as well. And we'll just have an A2 there to just see at the microphone, the lavalier is in the place that we want it to be. But in terms of putting the straps on, getting under their clothes, they're going to do that themselves.
Copy
So
that.
that's our approach.
and how do you do the quality control check at the end of that? How do you check it out?
Oh, we're going to have a guy there just with eyes and say, this is where we want the mic element to be.
I see. And
Without us going in.
He'll be in the room with the talent?
Yes. Right.
And who is he? Will he be a
or
sound
she.
guy? Will he be a production person?
No, that will be a sound person. That will be an A2
Gotcha. You have your A2 in the room.
in the room at a distance saying, this is where we want the lavalier to be placed.
Gotcha.
So.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But let me go back a little bit. Andre, you mentioned being a health and safety monitor.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's a very good idea for production to keep people who you need to have contact with the room or the location or the talent to do that. But isn't that a bit of a risk? Like if you're like a trained professional in health and safety and corona and pharmaceutical world, that person has a lot of experience and understands the process and the responsibilities and the legalities potentially.
Yes, sir.
But the sound guy being trained to do that is a question. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm doing it because as a full-time employee of Complex, by showing that they're paying for it, they're paying for the hours, by showing that I did that, that counts as my hours for the week. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm high risk because I am an asthmatic, so I wouldn't be used in that case. But it's good that as a team, as a studio team, we're all up to code, let's say. So basically, it's doing it for me. It's more for awareness, so I know what to look for.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But
Sure.
I wasn't against trying to learn because this is all new.
Right, because the learning is good.
Yeah, this is the information that I was learning from taking these said hours or studying these said hours helped me to understand. I need to make sure I mask up, and because Complex didn't want us touching anybody, or you know what I'm saying. It was just like, when Safe Talent doesn't get it, there's going to be a point where talent's not going to get it, or they're going to get frustrated and clip themselves and looks weird. So with learning this, I know that shield and a mask and gloved up will help me to at least let them get in there, and I can place it the way I need to.
So do you, in your position, in your experience yet, were you quote unquote responsible for as being the health and safety person on set?
No. So anytime that has come up, I don't, so far, if they need someone to go on set in the office, I'm not required to say yes.
I ask because, the job we just finished, I just did my first job back since Corona, and the health and safety guy is a professional in the pharmaceutical world for 100 years. And he's pissed at people who get a certificate and then the next day they're on set as the safety person.
Now that's the thing. That was, I can't believe, I could only imagine how many people are cutting corners hiring that PA. At the end of the day, it's meant for the EMT worker who does do sets to then get the COVID thing, and them, because now they're getting paid that rate.
Right. Yes. Expand their experience and put to use there. Right. Yes, sir. And just for the record, I won't put myself on set as a health and safety monitor. That's not what, by doing that, I didn't do that to start taking jobs as such. I did it so that I'm more aware of what that process is to be for my department. Yeah, my union, is in the lighting department out here at 728. We've had to do a long list of safety classes just to join. Lift, rigging, electricity, weather, all this stuff. And there's no reason we shouldn't then, like you're suggesting, take some level of higher learning. Because
again, this is all still new. We're still as 6 months in. This is still green to us. 6 months in, our government is not making a stance because there's so much different information out there. Right. And here, basically, and because of that lack of knowledge, it's holding up. It's holding up the movie world. It's holding up production to go back in because they're worried. They're worried because it's all about politics on set. We know that, right? And as sound people here, we always fall in that gray area. So this is better protecting us.
It's
right. I must say, on this show that I'm about to begin, we're doing something called a quarantine bubble. So the entire cast, production, crew, we're all together at this compound, and we can't be interacting with the outside world. We can't go downtown to hang out. We can't be obviously going to bars or restaurants. Right. We have to stay either on set or at our hotel accommodations within this quarantine bubble for 2 months.
For 2 months.
2 weeks of quarantine?
We're going to be quarantined for 7 days at the hotel. Then we report to set.
I see.
But we have to take a coronavirus test beforehand, be cleared. And then obviously once we start working, there's going to be constant testing, and we have professional COVID monitors that are watching everything that we do, make sure things are sanitized. We have to choose coronavirus remediation protocol manual as well.
Sure.
So it's very strict, but for a lot of us who are ready to go back to work safely, we're happy to have these sort of protocols in effect to keep people safe.
Wow.
But again, 2 months on a show, quarantine bubble, will be very difficult. And it will be, I think, also a psychological challenge for us as well.
For sure. For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So also, Ezekiel, I'm gonna put you on mute. He's gone away. I'm gonna put him on mute because there's a lot of network noise.
Right.
Aaron, if you can hear us also, if you would mute yourself as well, unless you're interested in talking, which we're happy to have you talk.
Yeah, Aaron. What's up, Aaron? Aaron, I'll let him introduce himself.
And is it time? You want Aaron? I don't. Who's Aaron? You want to have him introduce himself?
Hey, Aaron, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing, Aaron?
Hey, good man. How's it going?
It's going well.
It's Aaron Burns, by the way, as opposed to the Aaron. Oh, one second. Hold on, Aaron. Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Please, if you would mute your mic. Mute your mic unless you're ready to talk because of the network noise. Yeah.
We only use sterilizing. We don't have radio mic we have is sterilizer. We are using Nigeria here. The highest one is sterilizer.
Oh, it's yes.
Yes, we have sterilizer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Ezekiel,
Electronics, yeah.
I was just saying, when you're not talking, mute your mic because of the network noise.
Yeah. I'm hearing.
Mute. Hey, mute your mic on the Zoom.
Hello?
Yeah. This is because we're getting a lot of noise, a lot of network noise from your end.
Yeah.
If you could mute the mic on the Zoom.
Hello?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Mute your mic.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. When you're not talking, keep it muted because of the network. You know, network connection is bad, yeah?
Oh, there we go.
All right.
All right, cool. Yeah.
All right. So also, go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just gonna say what's up to Aaron and thank him for calling in. Aaron and I worked together on a number of productions, and on a production that we're about to start up, he's gonna be the one dealing with talent as far as miking. And so I just wanted to, just kind of hear what he had to say about that, if he's ready for it, and what he got, like, what's his strategy going into it. Like, he's very good with talent, and that's why I trust him to do all that miking stuff. But I just wanted to hear from him, like, what's his strategy, how he's gonna go about doing it, and I think everyone on the continent will be very thankful for his input.
Well, we need him to speak up and show his face. Aaron, where are you?
I look like I got out of bed, so I'm not going to show my face right now.
Okay, fine. Aaron Burns. Yeah.
I got two little babies, so I've been just trying to get them to quiet down all day long. But yes, I have been working with Paul for a number of shows, probably at least 5, maybe 2 handfuls, and been fortunate to be in a spot where I can, be interacting with the talent and miking them up and getting hands-on experience, booming and that sort of stuff too. So I think in the situation we're going to be dealing with all the COVID stuff, I think we're going to have to be a lot more sensitive towards just being delicate around the talent and making sure that we're protecting ourselves as well as protecting them, making sure that, we're masked up and making them comfortable is a key to, making them comfortable around us, and also cleaning the equipment really well every time it's being used. Once it's taken off, it's always got to be clean now. We have to sterilize it. And I think me and Paul were talking about possibly, getting some UV ray lights too for the cart.
Oh yeah, yes.
Help with cleaning, as well as sanitizing the mics, but just to kind of that extra comfort to the actors. It's a physical thing that they can see, that, you know, when they walk up to the cart, you know, where I can sanitize my hands and also have all the proper protective equipment on in order for them to feel comfortable in getting mic'd. But it's not just something that we do, but we also physically have to show them that we're doing. For them to feel that comfort around us, and, you know, going forward, so that, you know, they don't feel like they have to mic themselves in their trailer, which sometimes leads to really bad audio.
Wow, that's good. I like that idea of getting the lights for your department.
Yeah, it's like a little microwave. I also share it. It's like a little microwave thing. It's a UV light, it hits it, and then it's supposed to, you know, totally disinfect whatever you put in. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
two things. Aaron S., can you put a link to that Gotham Sound webinar? I did a Google search, but I'm not clear which one I'm looking for. And then Paul, that UV light you're talking about, or the microwave CAG thing, whatever, if you could, I'd love to share that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send that now. UV light. Now, its effect on the wireless, I don't think it would have like an effect on it. I mean, you know, I'll test it with some old mics that I have, some old transmitters that I have, but I don't think it would have an effect.
What do you mean? During the transmission?
No, like, you know, just zapping it with that UV light in that box, right? You know, it actually affecting the transmitter. I don't think it would. I would take the batteries out of the transmitter before I did it, but I don't think it would have a great effect, a negative effect.
Yeah.
But and something Aaron said, like letting talent see what actions you're taking to sanitize will go a long way, because a lot of it's psychological. They just want to make sure that you're not a nasty, putting nasty on them. And so, you know, even before COVID, just like letting them see me applying some sort of sanitization to my hands or to the actual apparatus that we're putting on them, making sure the actual wire is clean. If it's like a beige wire or white wire, it could have some gunk on it. It could be like from tape or something, but if they see it, you know, sometimes they get freaked out.
Absolutely.
So even just, you know, just doing that and letting them see that before placing it on them will go a long way, because you know, the talent can be hard to deal with when it comes to miking. So, you know, just want to make it easier. Some people had trouble signing in. I don't know if they were able to get on. Some of my students in Africa, they said they're trying to sign in, but they're having trouble. Okay. So so yeah. But anyway, I appreciate you guys signing on, man, and offering your info, man.
So I got a real like specific question that I've suffered with. I did one Zoom movie as a DP. One talent is in his home downtown LA, and the other talent is in her home in Northern California. And the story, you know, and they're calling each other, and that's the script, right? How this might be for Andre, since he's the professional, the clearly the professional Zoom guy in particular, and anybody else who has experience. How do you record that? Because we stumbled. I just observed. I wasn't involved in sound, but there was a real challenge. Andre.
Like, I feel like sometimes it is what it is. Like, you know, like but you gotta hope like talent has, some sort of microphone on their end, because you're saying this is via webinar, right?
Well, it was on Zoom, but we did sort of like Paul. I sent them an app, and it was actually recorded. The visual was recorded in their iPhone on this professional app, right? So that looked fine. The sound, however, they tried to capture it separately. They had a lav that clipped on, and then it didn't go into a pack. It went wired into the computer, and they did it on QuickTime audio. Or they had what they called the Beyonce, because it was on a mic with the disc in front of it, the little, and that was the same. They would plug it straight into the computer and at the same time record a QuickTime audio file.
Copy that. So so essentially we do it vice versa. We everything we do for Zoom is mostly for audio. We have talent use QuickTime for the HD, because you get HD out of the QuickTime better, better than you do Zoom. So essentially, even like on Zoom, you can record ISO files. So once you have the audio coming into Zoom, it's better. But in the case of like that, for me, I would set it up so that it's QuickTime video, Zoom audio. When you go down here, even on here on Zoom, you got the caret right beside the mic. When you click that caret, it brings you to the audio settings. As long as if they have a Yeti mic, a Blue Yeti mic, or something like that, external mic, it can come right into the computer. That's even better than even the clip-on mic, really. But it's you have to have the right equipment ahead of time. So if they're doing that essentially, then you gotta then understand the two difference of those programs, and then switch it, and then do it so that to a point. So for me, I would switch that. I know I'm comfortable on Zoom, and then let Zoom be the facilitator for audio.
So do you, in your experience, so that setup is, because it's not a meeting per se, like us sitting here talking to the computer, some of it is blocking. She's in the bathroom, she walks over and lays on the bed and talks to the guy in the computer. He's walking around his house exercising. She's watering the plant, different stuff. So how do you deal with that? And what we ended up doing was,
oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Because now they're into dramatic storytelling as opposed to meetings.
That's a whole, that requires pre-pro. That requires, if you're going to have that, then you need a belt impact, like you need a belted mic. There needs to be that. Yeah. Cause you're not just gonna get the audio clean from that, and the talent's not gonna, that's a tough situation. So just from what I know from my I would feel like Paul, that setup Paul has would work in this situation, but then you have to trust that the person knows how to mic themselves.
Yeah. What I found, and only because they had if they had the iPhone, they had it on a tripod, right? And they walked around with it. Or if they had the Mac, they'd walk around with that in their hands. They would hold it. And what I would do is I would take a gooseneck DPA, and if it was on that stand, I would take a small SM transmitter, put the gooseneck DPA on, and I would bongo tie it to that handle. And so wherever that went, it was right there. It was right on it. And then with the MacBook Pro, just sticking the transmitter on with the gooseneck there, with a little bit of Joe Sticky. That always worked better than them micing themselves, because there's always something, and we can't just jump in like we would usually do.
Can you describe that thing again, if you would?
It's a plant, just a plant mic. And it's called a gooseneck DP. I also put that in the chat. It's a bendable mic. And you can point it in the direction of the actor who's actually holding the device. If they were just holding the iPhone, it would be harder to do that because I couldn't place the gooseneck transmitter device towards them. But I feel like even with a regular wire, you could devise something where it's not on them, but you could place it on the actual device. The only thing with that is the handling noise. That would be a problem, but I found like that the plant mics work very well. They even work a little better than just pointing the boom there, because if they're up moving around, then you would need something that they're carrying with them, and that's always pointed in front of them. And as another option to just placing the mic on themselves, which it's been a struggle. I mean, you know, you can show them all day, but a lot of times, even when I'm micing people, I have to go back and readjust to get it just right.
Yep.
I can't just jump in there all the time. Right. So I'll put that in there. It's a DPA gooseneck mic, and it's been very very helpful in these times. And this here, the first thing I'm putting is this sanitizer. As soon as I can figure out how to put this in the chat, can someone help me? How do you attach photos to the chat?
Hi there, everybody.
So click on chat,
and
right? When you click on the chat, it's going to say file up in the corner.
All I see is close and bell.
No. So in the chat itself. So you see how it says to everybody? Right across it should say file. Right. Click file, and it should bring you to Dropbox, Google Drive, your computer.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that file.
You're not seeing the word file?
No. I'm just seeing close and a bell.
Hold up.
So Aaron, I put that link in as well. I found that link on YouTube. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, it's a good webinar to look at, especially going forward in the future here.
Yes. So guys, unfortunately, I gotta go. I have a shoot at 1 o'clock.
Okay. What anything you want to add that you definitely know needs to be out there?
Well, you know, this has been very informative for me because, you know, to know that there is a way to record remotely, and I can at least suggest this now to because our biggest issue is when talent doesn't understand miking or audio things. At least we now I can go with them to some more information saying, you know, we have a Dante, you know, we do have this network. We can make this more useful, and you know, go. But I obviously got to study up more on this. But from, you know, for the most part, just, you know, good luck to you guys for the coming fall and winter, and hopefully we all can hold on to next year. But I don't like this is we're going to be treading water, and let's all stay in touch because all the pieces of information that we can all help to keep the boat afloat, you know, it's going to help. You know, this is different times we're going into right now.
Very. Absolutely. But you know, there's a hunger at home for content. People want to see things, so we're in a good position to provide that new creative content.
Yes, and people are actually going to start listening to sound guys now.
Yeah, we have no choice.
Look, I'll believe that when I see it.
Hey, Andre, would you put your contact information, whether it's email or Facebook or Instagram, whatever, if people want to reach out to you? Yeah.
And then here's my number for everyone. And then from there, we can, brother Reed, I got your info. And from there, I'll get everybody else's info. From Paul, I'll get Aaron's, other Aaron. This has been. I want to be a part of this anytime going forward, even as just to listen. So, if anything, this has been amazing.
Yeah, and guys, I'll be on set in a few weeks if you want to do another webinar about updates on where we are in terms of production and how things are going.
Yeah. Now, Aaron, we're not done yet. So unless you got
go. I just have. I'm the one that's running. I only had an hour of my time. Once Paul said 12 o'clock, I made sure I was ready for 12.
Right on. Right on.
So in that case, you guys, and I'll check in with you, Paul.
All right, Andre. Thank you for coming on and contributing, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Aaron, we're not done with you yet. Unless you got to go.
No, I'm good.
All right. Cool. All right. So, Mr. Paul.
If I can, in regards to this, puts us in a good position as sound people going forward. Just seeing other sound people talk about it, but this is a really good time for sound people that are going back to set, doing on-set sound, to be able to fight for two booms, and also to be able to fight for painting out booms, because some shows are starting to paint out booms, and what that would benefit them is us as utilities not having to actually be in close contact with the actual talent if they don't feel comfortable for some reason, with everything going around, that we can just put two booms in there and not have to worry about wiring the talent.
Yeah.
That gives us also the ability, as long as it's a static shot, to be able to two boom and put the boom wherever we can, as close as we can get it. And that would give us the best audio and also give us, a good position going forward as sound people.
Oh yeah. The battle I foresee is limiting crew on set and production coming to department heads asking if we can do jobs with less people. And I think knowing that, for a sound mixer to know, look, if I do have two booms on set, it'll be better. It'll sound better. True, that's another person actually in that circle around your talent and around camera and around your dolly grips and everyone. But it does cut down on the close contact with your talent, if that's what you're concerned about. Because like Aaron said, if we do have two booms, we can stretch those booms out and be able to cover more ground and get better sound than if we just rush to mic everybody in a time like this. Yeah.
Well, the fact that a lot more productions are able to have the technology to paint out booms when it's a static shot.
Right.
That meaning we can get as close as we need to be, even if it's a wide or whatever.
Guys, why don't you explain what painting out a boom is for people who don't know? You mean like in post-production, CGI, brushing the boom out of shot in post?
That's correct. If there isn't a moving background, so if it's a static shot with nothing in the background moving, then they have the capability now to actually just paint the boom out of the shot, that, basically just, cutting it out of the actual, whatever shot it's in. I know there's multiple shows that have already started doing that, Ozarks being one of it. But more and more productions, I think, are willing to, with the technology available, to allow us to get what we need, as long as it doesn't mess with the photography, of course.
So that's a whole, let's fix it in post.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
I feel like we're going to be hearing a lot of that.
You know, see, I'm in a situation on Top Chef where I don't have the luxury of flying boom poles in. Everything is wireless. So all the talent is wearing wireless mics. All the cameras have wireless links or hops that gets transmitted from me to them. And as Paul was saying, that there might be a motivation to lower crews on set. I'm in the situation now because I actually have another audio supervisor coming with me in case I go down, and if I somehow get COVID, he can step in. And he won't have the same, he won't be on at the same time as I am. He'll have a different shift. So I'll work in the morning and then he'll come in later and work in the evening. And that's a first for me on a show of this scale. I've always had A2s, but I've never had 2 audio supervisors. So that's new.
Oh yeah, because now they're doubling up the crew for the keys that are crucial.
That's
a great concern. Yeah, I've also noticed, I mean, another good reason to fight for with what me and Paul work with, you know, when I'm able to come in as a utility is in a position where he should be able to know a boom operator's job as well as a sound mixer's. In case the boom operator or the sound mixer go down, then utility should be able to jump in that role without, you know, effortlessly to be able to take over in that position.
So let me ask you about that, Aaron and Aaron. That sounds good, but a part of me is very curious about the producers asking too much of someone and not compensating them for it. If you're talking about somebody who goes from utility to mixer and you expect him to be able to do the mixer's job, and yet you're paying him the utility job during that pre-event time, that sounds questionable. What do you think?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I know that with, you know, as me and Paul are in the union, I know with union rules, if you work in a position during the day more than 2 hours, you have the right to re-rate what you're getting hourly for that day. So if that's the case, you know, if I jumped in for Paul, if he had to leave because he was sick, if I worked more than 2 hours in that position, I would automatically get his rate for the day.
Sure, of course. But I guess my question is kind of different, in the same ballpark, but kind of different. So if you hire, okay, now I don't know you, Aaron Burns, so I'll just speak what little I know about Aaron S. If he's been doing this 20 years and he's doing this on this show and he has a certain level of experience. So you're paying him not just for that day, but for the years of experience he's accumulated, right? So today is Wednesday. If today he's at work, he gets paid at a certain scale, right? The utility gets paid at a much lower scale, but yet you're in today, not tomorrow if something happens, but today you're expecting that utility to come with some experience that allows him to step up, right? But yet you only pay him for that level of experience when something goes wrong. So in a certain sense, that producer has an insurance policy that they're not paying for.
That's a valid point. That is completely valid. I mean, my situation is probably the same as Paul's. Is if I were to go down, my second audio supervisor, as of right now, he doesn't have the same rate as I do going in. But if I go down, yes, then he would.
Of course.
But it doesn't, like you were saying, he's not getting my same rate the entire run of the show.
Right.
He's almost like an audio supervisor underling, I guess.
Yeah.
But he does come in with a wealth of knowledge as well.
Yeah. Now I see as like your second, because the step up is not, but when the other Aaron was talking about going from utility being able to step in, if that's what the producers are expecting, then when you're utility, in theory, you're being interviewed as if you're a mixer.
Right, before you even start.
Yeah.
Before you, but you know what, Christian, that like for me, you know, as a mixer, Aaron, I'm totally confident he can do what I can do before we even start working together.
Sure.
Because of that. And there's been times where I've went down. We were on Creep Show last year and I got sick. And the producer was like, yeah, you probably caught what I had. And that's just how easy, you know, people get sick, especially the way we used to do things, right? And Aaron stepped in.
Sure.
And, you know, I feel like crewing up with competent people nowadays is so crucial because of that, you know.
Yeah.
Like and Aaron Sally, he runs when he runs a lot. He's multi-tracking. So you gotta know what's going on. You gotta be.
But Aaron Sally mentioned that there's 2 sound supervisors, if I'm chopping up the language. That's the producer paying for the insurance that they want. I agree with that. I'm questioning that other setup where the utility is expected to be able to step 2 departments up.
Oh,
that sounds very suspect financially.
That's a big swing.
That's a big swing.
Also, I think that gives Paul, as my boss, some leverage in negotiating rates before the show starts. Just explaining to them that, you know, my utility has this experience. He'll be able to do these positions in case, you know, something would happen. And he has, you know, done this for me in the past. And, you know, that's just a leverage piece for a mixer to be able to sell himself, but also
that's a reason for rates to go up. Or to
Look, I'm so glad we had a conversation because that's something I'm bringing to the table. For real, like, you know, because I always have that. I'm cool. Like Aaron, I trust Aaron, right? And when I hear he's signing on with it, I'm like, okay, great. Now anxiety is gone, right? Just in case something happens. But production doesn't know that.
Sure.
Production doesn't know that, and they need to.
Sure.
And so I'm glad we brought that up. I was gonna say something else. With unscripted shoots, when it is a 3-man team, the utility usually is the one that would cover me, as opposed to the boom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's you know, usually the way it goes. Because the boom, that's a whole thing. That's a whole skill set unto its own. And usually the utility is closer to the mixer and knows, you know, the operation of the actual mixer. We're in more communication on my end as far as what I'm doing. And the boom operator is like, they're in their own, they're in that world, the on-set world. And utility has to know both jobs because, you know, utility has to cover if the boom op goes down as well.
Yeah. We all do some covering. I don't doubt that. I'm just curious.
Right.
In this moment.
Now, Aaron's he's like, you know, he has a whole team. It's a whole team. I mean, A2.
We've got 7 sound guys. Well, we have 7 sound mixers. We have an A2. We have another audio supervisor, and then me. So it's a big squad.
It's a big squad. So not only you know, does he have to account for that actual team knowing how to operate and how to keep the train rolling, but there's also reserves that you have to have in place as well, like mini reserves that can come in and switch people out. Like if one of the mixer or two of the mixers go down, you know, reserves that have to be competent and know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think productions going in, they're going to have to realize we can't work quite as fast as we used to in the past.
Oh yeah.
We've got to be very deliberate. You know, we've got to sort of take our time a little bit more to make things are done right, but safely.
Right.
Do you see that showing up in the production planning and how many pages in a day or how much time is allotted in a day and that kind of stuff?
That might be for Paul because I'm going into this fresh in 3 weeks. So I'll be able to make more of a judgment call when we check in mid-production.
Sure.
Yeah. I know that from what I've seen, like, and to bring up what Aaron mentioned, I feel like there is a little more respect for sound nowadays, which I really appreciate.
I like the way you say that.
Yeah, no, look, I was on the last shoot I did. We were on the conference call before the shoot. I was gonna be the only one on set. Oh no, I'm sorry. This last shoot, we did have a camera, but he just set up the cell phone. That's it. You know, he just put the cell phone there. And he was like, the producer was like, guys, can we please not do super wide shots where sound can't get in the shot? Can we please do that? I was like, I've never heard that before, and I really appreciate it. I really do. Yeah, usually, you know, we have to fight those battles.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
So
oh yes.
It's really, I hope most producers get that now. And the fact that you can't just bring us talent right before you're about to start and expect us to rush and put these mics on. We need time. We need time. We need to be safe.
So has it shown up in your schedule? Have they allotted
yeah,
time
actually,
differently?
pre-calls. I've had, on the first social distance show, I had an 1.5 hour pre-call. Now that could be, you know, because they want to give me time to set all the other stuff up since I'm doing this kind of remotely. But a lot of that pre-call was built into me having time with talent and getting the mic situation taken care of properly and not rushing, you know, not rushing the process. Right. So that was built in.
It makes sense. I don't think people want to take those risks right now. The way COVID is and how it's a virulent strain it is, it doesn't make sense to rush and get people infected. Then you lose your talent or your talented crew members.
I hear you, but the shoot I just came from didn't seem like they were all the way there. They started out with that idea, but by about lunchtime the first day, it didn't seem like.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like they slipping back into normal, back into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because somebody with a check has to be willing to say, slow down.
Right. Right.
And so that person, like the producer you talked about, says it out loud.
Right. Yes. I mean, I've had some for shoots, reality shoots, because you know, a lot of the scripted shows haven't really worked out who they're gonna point the finger at.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, Atlanta has all the reality shows you can muster, right? All of them, all the Love and Hip Hops, all the Married to Medicines, all those. Yeah. And I did turn down those because judging from how they operated before when I worked on, I knew that they would ask me to do a lot of things I wouldn't be comfortable doing. And at that point, I'll take my help over a check. Or just getting frustrated, right? Being frustrated with, hey, go mic these people. these people don't have masks on. Town doesn't have masks on. There are a lot of people in this room. Who's going to be my advocate?
Right. Right.
Right. Yeah. So.
I want to ask the folks in Lagos to chime in. We haven't heard much from Ezekiel, and we had one other person, but I think they dropped.
Yeah. You know, I have my WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages on my WhatsApp, and it's saying I can't join. They're asking for a password or the.
Oh, well, that's easy. It's in the message I sent you.
Yeah, it's in the message, right? Let me see.
I'm looking to make sure they have it. Yeah.
LCD.
Yeah, in capital. Make
Yeah,
sure
I'll
you
read.
have all capitals.
LCD is password. All caps.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
And Ezekiel, I just want you to mute the mic
Yeah.
so that because of the noise. Speak up whenever you want, yeah?
Yeah. Can I say something now?
Yes.
Yeah, like Nigeria, the producer, they want to give you equipment to use. Not that your own equipment, they will go and rent equipment and give you to use. And some of the equipment are not okay. They will ask you to use because they want to pay.
Yes.
And what do we do to that extent? Because they are always is low budget. Always complain that low budget. Let me take my own equipment and use. They will not allow me to use because they want to short of the money.
Yes.
So some of their equipment are not okay. So I now to be getting some equipment to me to use because if I use the equipment to spoil my own work. So something like that, should I reject the job or should I reject the equipment for them?
Okay. Well, you
Because
have your own
equipment, so there will
you have your own gear, correct?
Yeah. Just a little one I have.
Right. I remember us talking about that in Lagos.
Yeah.
And I would just, I would just bring up that producer.
Yeah.
Why you want to use your equipment. And then kind of just work it out. And Aaron, if just to bring you up to speed on how they shoot in Lagos. Lagos is a very, very, very live place. It's like New York times 30.
I say it's New York on crack.
New York on crack. Okay.
And that's good if you like crack.
Right.
That's bad if you don't like crack.
Right. And it's Lagos is up and moving. I'm talking 5:30 in the morning. It's up. They're moving. It's loud. A lot of generators. It's kind of like a go type of thing. And so what sound mixes are dealing with on set are producers who are very much let's go. And they aren't too compassionate to sound mixers and sound mixers. They're like, just put the mic up and let's go. Are you a sound man or what? Like, I don't want to hear about this and that. So, but Ezekiel, what I would say to you is, I would pull the producer aside, show them your gear, and then explain to them, even if they don't fully understand, explain to them why you need to use your stuff, and maybe make a compromise. I wouldn't necessarily not take the job, but the only way I wouldn't fully take the job is if I knew that I didn't have what I needed equipment-wise to complete it and to offer them good sound. So a lot of times it's going to be a give and take because of what you're dealing with, but if you can maybe use some of their gear and bring your gear to the table as well to make the sound great, then I would go ahead and do it. And then and as far as the compensation for it, you know, man, don't be scared to walk away if you need to. That's all I would say with that. Like we discussed in Lagos, because I know you're dealing with what you're dealing with. A lot of people want to cut the budget and they want things done and at the best rate they can get it. But you got to make sure that you offer them the importance of having good sound, and you got to pay for it. If that helps, Ezekiel.
Yeah, and also, you know that if you're using your own gear, you know that it works. You're not going in, spending time prepping their stuff, wondering, is it working, is it not, do you have this or do you have that? You can just walk around the set and say, hey, I'm ready to go.
Ready to go.
So that's also a sort of a selling point, I would think, that you're not wasting time on technical issues that using someone else's gear as opposed to your own stuff that you know in and out.
So you all know
Yeah.
that ain't gonna change their minds that easily. Ezekiel, I know the place. I've been working there about 15 years. So I know what you're talking about. I think the conversation has to be somewhere in the ballpark of turning down the job in order to build up a reputation of good work. This is my
I agree with you. I agree on
because
that.
Ezekiel, you know, Pius doesn't do that. Pius does what he wants because people now believe everything he says, right? So,
Yes. You know, Pius will come with J.
period.
If you know, we need go, we won't do the work.
Right.
Yes. Pius go with the J.
Right, he goes with his gear. Right. Most of the class that we had in Lagos was like a sound empowerment class. It really was. It was like,
that's right.
You walk to set like this, and they'll pay for it. You know, like it's like almost like a mind game. And I think that it goes for this situation. You know, it's like I can't work with this because I'm a professional sound mixer and this is not going to work. And be willing to walk away. You know, and your sound speaks for itself. All the past jobs you've done speaks for itself. So if they want good sound, they'll come back around. You know. Yeah. So yeah, but it's like the first day was a sound empowerment course because the mixers in Lagos have been dealing with just they felt like they had no power to express their needs on set. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I do think you all have mentioned briefly here is one thing. I think Aaron Burns started mentioning it first. This health issue, Corona, has placed more importance on process and safety. So Ezekiel, that may give you one more bit of information to use when talking to producers about the process, the amount of help, the amount of time to be safe, you know, because that's the thing that nobody can be blamed for and everybody is aware of, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
And Paul,
Okay.
I would love for you to speak some more about that remote mixing thing you talked about.
Yes. Yeah. You know,
in Lagos? And can that be used in Legos in terms of the types of equipment where the equipment is more basic and the network connections are not as consistent?
Yeah. And I thought about that. I don't, because what we had, it worked, but we still had network issues. And that could be because of where we were. I was like out in remote Pennsylvania somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like a 5G signal wasn't that strong, right? And in Lagos, I had a time hooking up to the internet and getting like, I think it was 4G. Was it 4G or 3G in Lagos?
3 is consistent. 4 is...
3 is consistent, right?
So, but describe what you had, what you used, because I'm not clear.
Okay, so here I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this photo.
4G, 3G, 4G, 3G,
3G. You see this photo? I
4G, 3G.
Do you guys see the photo I have up? I'm not sure if you see it.
Yes.
Okay, this is the front. This is the front of the rig. All right, this is the front of the rig, right? And now I'm gonna go to the back.
Okay.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna go to the back now. That's the back of the rig right there. Okay. So you see the TP link?
Which one?
TP link.
What is that?
It's
I've seen it.
It's the hub. It's on the left side of the screen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. So that would hook into the D squared, which is the receiver, and the other part I would just hook into the wireless or the router of where I was, the location I was. And it was the homeowners. They brought an extension out, and I plugged right into that.
Oh, so it's just plugged into their wireless router.
Absolutely, yes.
Hardwired.
Yes, hardwired. Mm-hmm. And then with Wireless Designer, the mixer in Chicago would be able to scan and set up the frequencies on the D squared.
And can you go back to the front?
Yeah, I'll go back to the front now.
But honestly, you could have done that yourself locally because all that gear was with you.
Hey, you know, Aaron, that's what I was doing. I ended up just doing everything. He had the capabilities to do it. I just wanted to show, you know, when they initially came up with this idea, they were this whole package, 2 actors.
So what are we looking at here?
They were instructing, they were saying, hey, just plug this into the internet and we'll take care of everything other than you miking yourself. And you place in the mics where they need to be.
So what are we looking at here?
All right, in the front, okay, on the top, that's the D squared receiver.
What is that?
Right? And that's just receive. That's 4 receivers for the transmitters that were at the bottom. I think I had 3 transmitters that they had in there, and you know, extra. I used the extra as a wireless boom, so I had 4 transmitters out at certain times. With
So is that D square thing something common, Ezekiel? Is that something you all use or a version of that in Legos?
It's like this remote sound. You know, the highest mixer we are using in Nigeria now is F8N. That's the highest that we are using.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So Paul, can you help us kind of translate what
So,
So it essentially,
is that
a lot of the wires they were using in Legos were the G3s, the Sennheiser G, right?
G4? The Sennheiser is G4. They are G4 now. They are
G4,
using G4.
excuse me. Yes, G4. And when we were in Legos, surprisingly, Legos and Enugu,
Yeah.
the students showed me a real effective way of how they scan for frequencies. And so we did that, and then we did a range test. And the range was actually very good with the Sennheiser G4s. It was I didn't expect it for that. Right. So we walked a long way, and it was great. So I don't think they have a problem with distance. I mean, if they are outside and talent's inside, then maybe. But we ran that test as well, and these mics held up. The wireless connection held up.
Yeah.
But a lot of the class that a lot of the time that in the class was showing the students wireless distribution, such as antennas to get a better range with the electrosonics packages that I
Yeah.
So this is like I showed them, but more updated. I had a octo pack that I took to Legos, but this is essentially an if you had two of these, that would be an octo pack. But this is digital.
Okay. This control sound. Remote sound. Is it remote sound or control sound? Remote sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
And over at the network, they were using.
What's the difference?
I'm sorry?
What is the difference?
The difference is, from my understanding, you can squeeze a lot more frequencies in a certain space.
It's a complete bandwidth in the United States that we're allocated.
Okay.
Right.
As opposed to the blocks, some of the older systems are, that D-squared can cover the entire frequency spectrum that's legal in the United States. So it's very handy, very flexible.
Very flexible.
Okay.
And this is the A1 that they sent out.
Okay.
And you were, Ezekiel, when we were on the board, we were talking about the different blocks, A1 and B1 and C1.
Yeah.
How things were.
Yeah.
This is set up for the A1 frequency.
Okay.
Which is from 470 to 20. Block 470 to block 20.
But that's not the full one that he has, Paul.
I'm sorry?
That's not the full spectrum on that D-squared, because I have one that's the full.
I think this, you know what, Aaron? It might be the full spectrum on the receiver.
Yeah, I think it is.
It is. I'm sorry. The transmitters I was using were A1. So that's cool. That's good. That's good to know. In Legos, you guys use sound devices mixed free.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And Aaron, a lot of the things that we were dealing with are a lot of the I guess the challenges that mixers were having in Legos is the access to the equipment that we have. You know,
Yes.
A lot of the mixers had the experience of being on set, and they came across a lot of the same problems we have. They just didn't have the equipment that we use from day to day. And so a lot of it was the introduction to the different devices that we use and the power that it has, right? So
Yeah.
So can I ask, Paul, this I'm trying to get real basic, and I don't know anything about sound, so hopefully I'm asking the right question.
no, it's fine.
So this looks like 3 items in this pack. This receiver on top that receives the signal
Yes.
from
Yes,
the mixer, the little 4-dial thing in the middle on the
that's
right.
the mixer recorder. Yes.
And then in the back, you showed us the hub, the
Yes, the wireless hub.
wireless hub. And all of
Right.
that, they have versions of in Linux, right?
Yes. Now, the thing is, could this be used with, you know how we got our wireless? It was using the hotspots.
Yes.
That would be, I think that would probably be the challenge. You
Well,
know?
most of the indoor stuff is at somebody's home, or somebody's office, or school, you know.
Right.
If they can hardwire to that person's router,
Right.
then you're in better shape.
Exactly.
Even if that router is on a good or bad network, you know, down the line, we can't control that, but at least,
No.
you know.
Yeah. So, you know, this is, I thought this would, you know, this would be good to share to show that it could actually be done. Now, it's just, after this, it was frustrating for talent here to operate this. So maybe this isn't so simplistic, but it's just where things are going.
It is.
You know?
So what about that? Y'all mentioned earlier, what do you call it? The software. Sound design. What was that software?
Oh, Wireless Designer?
Can you put a
Do you
link for
use
that?
Do you use Wireless Designer, Aaron? I don't know what you would.
No, but I probably will. Wireless Designer is good. Say, for instance, you have your stage box and your receivers not next to you in the control room, so you're not looking at your receiver. Your receivers are off-site. You can use Wireless Designer to see the parameters of your wireless in the control room just by running a USB cable.
Okay.
So that's the benefit of wireless. And also, like you said, be able to change the frequencies, look at the parameters on a laptop.
Right.
You're saying the mixer in Chicago was using Wireless Designer to also hear, look at the signal and listen to the audio back from your source.
Right. Yeah. But he still needed, at the end of the day, he still needed a mixer on set.
Right.
For it, you know. Yeah.
Was there any talk of latency between your station and in Chicago?
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the biggest issues with camera as well, because, you know, they have the screen share, they're using Filmic Pro, and they're trying to block out a scene and it's stuttering. So we, you know, right. So, you know, that's one of the things I think is going to improve over time.
Yeah.
You know
what else I found that people don't account for? The fact that when you're doing stuff remotely, there's fewer paths of information to talk. So normally, if I'm the DP and you're the sound guy, we can talk directly, while Ezekiel, the director, and Aaron, the talent, can talk, while 3 other people can go talk about props and actor, you know, like, so now if you bring it over remote, you all have to wait till the next guy finishes talking to that one person. And the next, we can have like 6 chains of information going in between setups or between rehearsals, between takes. But when we do it remotely, it cuts it down to almost 1 person at a time speaking.
Right.
8 people have to just wait or try to jump in.
Right.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's the new big thing now on set remotely, is communication. If your director's off-site and he wants to talk to the DP that someplace else. How can they do that in a duplex situation, back and forth, as opposed to a walkthrough where one person is speaking?
And one person that everybody can hear.
I would say go on the Clearcom website. They have a bunch of webinars that talk about what they're doing with intercoms in the internet IP location space. And what they're doing is fantastic. I'll put it in the link.
Please
But
do. That's amazing.
Clearcom, intercoms, over IP. It's going to be the future.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that.
So Ezekiel and Paul, I'm curious if and Aaron for that matter, I'm curious if this wireless remote thing that you're talking about, Paul,
Mhm.
it can be done in the same proximity. So if Ezekiel is a sound mixer and is in some other room or some other office away from talent for COVID purposes, can this work on the same Wi-Fi network, not necessarily over cellular?
Oh, yes.
I don't even know what I'm asking, but you know what I mean? Like,
I have, Aaron and I, we've been working with this Cat 5 hub, which has been, we mainly use it for car rigs, trailer rigs, right? And it's a box that you would plug your receivers in if you had the 411 receivers. Ezekiel, I'm sure you remember what I'm talking about, because I brought a couple of those out there. The 411, the big boy receivers, and we plug for any receivers. You can plug them into this hub, and then you can put that on set. Let's say you have 4 wires on set. You can put their receivers on set and run a Cat 5 cable all the way to where you are. And then the other end of that Cat 5 is a breakout that goes into your recorder. And it gives you a lot of distance. It's wired, but it gives you a lot of distance, and it's fast. There's no latency. And so I guess that's like a low-tech way to do that in Legos. And did I bring that out? I think I brought that out. But I'll take a picture of it and put it on the chat of what that looks like. And that can get you a lot of distance as well. Even with the Sennheiser receivers, the G3 receivers, you can use it as well, because you can take that. You have to make sure all your settings are cool before you leave the receivers, but you can plug those into that hub and run the Cat 5 out to where you are and record remotely. Let me see if I can find that link. You guys hear me? Okay.
mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm looking for the link now. One moment.
I'm looking for stuff. Remote duplex communication.
Yeah, that's on the Clearcom website. That's a game changer. You're going to start seeing that more and more. People like having intercom on their phones.
Yes.
And communicating on your phone to someone that's at a different location.
Do that again, sir. Explain that.
It's something that Clearcom is developed. They've already developed it. It's an intercom system using headsets, belt packs, but they've also set up with an app on your iPhone that you can communicate as the intercom system on your iPhone.
So let me know, is this the page? I just put that link in. Is that the one? Because Ezekiel, that sounds really good in Legos to have essentially walkie-talkies out of your cell phone.
Yeah, exactly. You still need a mainframe, but if you go on the website, they have all the webinars, and it sort of really gives you a background on how it's used. Unfortunately, it's not the cheapest setup. It's sort of on the expensive side.
Okay.
Don't worry, if it's happening, someone will come out with a better priced version shortly.
Exactly.
So does that look like the right link, sir? The one I put up there?
I don't see it on my end. I see the chat, so I guess I'm not looking at something.
Yeah.
But whatever, anyone can find it online, and it just gives you an idea of how it works.
So you don't see it? Do you see any messages from me? Because I've been putting several things in there.
No, I don't see any from Christian in the chat.
It would be from Lights Camera Diaspora.
No, I don't.
Man, really, all this stuff and wishing you happy birthday and tell your people I said hello and all kind of good messages.
No, but it's something to look at. ESPN is already using it. I feel that that's going to work its way into film and other television productions very shortly.
Okay, and I just put that Cap 5 breakout into the link to the chat. That that should get you some distance using the Sennheiser G3s for my Legos mixers. You can see it.
You see one from me now, Paul, Aaron?
Yes, there's a.
Oh, I had selected something. I don't know. Okay, got it. Ezekiel, you see some of the stuff in the chat?
I'm not seeing it.
And I can also talk to him offline as well. I've got his information.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, Aaron. So a lot of unfortunately, the rest of my students are having trouble signing in.
What are they saying is happening?
Well, some are saying that it's not allowing them in. They're putting the password in. They're not able to get in. I still can't join. Been trying, can't join. Asking the password. I give them the password.
And you told them all caps?
Yeah, all caps. Yeah. They're just not having any luck. It could be network issues as well.
And did you type it in as all caps?
Yes, yes. I actually just copy and pasted that whole link again. It's funny because it didn't ask me for a password. It just kind of went in. It went into it. But anyway, I think they will greatly appreciate this because they will go to the website, watch, and you know, take this information in. You were about to say something, Christian?
No. So there's I got another question that someone mentioned. I think it was Aaron Sally earlier about wiping down your equipment. You know, early on, I kept hearing all these conversations about the equipment needs to be delivered clean, sanitized, needs to be sanitized every hour. If you hand something to someone else, it needs to be wiped off before they receive it and put it to use. And that has gone away in my world. That whole conversation about sanitizing equipment has gone away in general. So you might get a truck or a van full of gear, cases, hardware. I hear lots of talk about sanitizing the sound equipment, the mics and the packs that touch the actor, but it seems to all stop right there. I'm really curious about that idea of equipment and sanitizing it, because it turns into the rental company that's handling it. And do you trust them? Do you have time in your production budget to clean stuff as it's received, if it's rentals? And then who's, when you hand it back, are you supposed to clean all of the hardware, not just the mic and the mic and the lav is easy to do and to understand. It's the other stuff that I'm curious about. Because we're essentially getting gear. You're talking about being in the bubble. Are they renting the gear also for 7 weeks, or for 7 days, or for 2 weeks?
Yeah. It's a valid point, definitely. And I think if it's stuff that you're cleaning, you're aware of the situation of it at the time. But if you're touching things that are unknown to you, that are clean, that's not, I think it's a matter of just being aware, like, okay, I'm touching things, I don't know if it's sanitized. I'm gonna make sure I'm washing my hands. I'm gonna make sure I'm not touching my face or touching my eyes or my ears. So I think it's gonna be more of an awareness thing, more than that, we've been used to in the past. But I mean, it's a valid point, that's for sure. We're in the situation where every single camera person has their camera. No one else is going to be touching their camera. No one else is going to be switching their bricks, their lenses. The camera person will handle their camera. The sound people have their own packages, their own boom poles, their own mics. They will handle it. They'll clean it with us, but they're not going to be sharing pieces of gear. As much as that's our game plan going in, hopefully we can just stick with that plan.
Right.
And I know, I'm sorry, excuse me. I know before, Aaron, you were always good with designated microphones, designated transmitters. What, I'm sure that's going to continue on for this because it's so important. But
Hi there, everyone.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. So, but is that something that you're going to put more focus on going forward with this? Everyone has their own designated mic, no swapping. I'm not gonna put this mic on this person, even if I'm in a rush or something like that. And the actual wire, will that be the same, consistent throughout the season?
Yeah, absolutely. Every cast member, that's going to be their mic. We're not going to change it unless there's a situation. And if there is a situation, we'll just have to do our COVID protocols and make sure it's sanitized and not be in a rush. And it's going to come down to talking with their assistant directors as well, who are always used to, we got to beat that clock. We need to get on lunch, we're on overtime. It's going to be a conversation immediately about what we can accomplish and what we can't. It can't be the old way.
Right.
I do a lot of these shows where you start out in a classical music framework, and all of a sudden it's jazz. You're improvising, and now you're just holding up your hand to get back to the A section. Okay, we're a little bit messy right now. Let's get back to the A section. Let's get back to our classical, stanzas here. So it's going to be a challenge, but we have a game plan going in, and we'll see what happens midway. I'll check in with you guys and let you know what the situation is. But it's just too much on the line to get people infected, send people to the hospital. I think we're all compassionate people. I would hope that we're going to go into this thinking that way, because we all want to get back to work.
We have to.
We want to get our incomes back. We want to get our health insurance properly vested. So it's too much on the line just to rush through things these days and not be safe.
Right.
It's also important to know what we can clean our equipment with. there are certain things we're not supposed to be cleaning our equipment with that can maybe corrode our equipment or damage it. But I know for electrosonics, you can go on there, you can Google it and find exactly what works best. I think they say that you can use alcohol pads as well as another formula, but things like Lysol or bleach are obviously no-nos for equipment. But just understanding and, you know, making sure we're not destroying our equipment while we're trying to clean it, you know.
So Aaron, would you go over that again? You said, tell us some more about what's good and what's bad.
Well, things like bleach or Lysol are definitely bad for equipment, for your mics or your transmitter packs. They can damage or corrode it. But you just want to be mindful of what you're using on your equipment to clean it. And depending on what equipment you're using, I know with electrosonics, you can actually Google how to clean your equipment and they'll have a link for that. They do say alcohol swabs are okay. There's also another formula that they put in there, mixing alcohol and water together and kind of using like a spray bottle thing. But just being mindful so that we don't damage our equipment trying to, you know, make it clean.
And I bother you to put some links in the chat about the electrosonics page or information somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And did I hear you correctly? That's a mixture of stuff that somewhere in there you can get a recipe of something you can use?
Yes, the link just goes over how to clean it properly and also gives, it says the alcohol swabs as well as there's another formula of alcohol mixed with water that would be appropriate for cleaning and disinfecting your equipment. But obviously the ones you don't want to use are ones that have strong chemicals, Lysol, bleach, those kind of things.
I would think Lysol was popular. That seems to be like the answer to everything right now.
If you can find it.
I know, right? I have about 6 of them. I'll put my other number in the text so you can hit me up for a price quote.
Right. Look, the other thing too, IFBs and Comtex, you know, we hand those off all the time.
Hand them off.
And, yeah, we hand those off to producers, visitors on set, although I don't know how that's gonna work out. You know, there's always visitors on set, you know. But making sure those are properly sterilized and making sure that like when they come back to you, you sterilize it and wash your hands as well. Okay, I see it. I think that's important. And this goes back to like protecting yourself because production, they're gonna look out, but I think most of it comes from our own awareness of what's going on and keeping ourselves protected as best as possible. We hand off a lot and we receive a lot. We just gotta make sure that we, you know, protect our health by constantly sanitizing and constantly washing our hands. Alcohol swabs tend to work well with transmitters. That's what I've been using.
This is a great list. So Aaron, does that mean there's more of these? This is wireless number 20. Where can I find these?
Well, I just Googled this one. This was just for particular, this particular equipment for the electrosonics. But I'm sure depending on what manufacturer you're using, I'm sure you can do the same Google search for them. But this kind of gives you just a brief overview of what works best for their equipment.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, that's another thing, Paul, about Comtex and IFBs. Normally in our control room, we have, you know, minimum 10 or 15 people crowded around monitors, you know, the DP, the director, the execs, the story people. So We're going to be at a huge warehouse facility where we can put different departments with their own monitors and their listening devices. But it'll be interesting to see what we do for executives from the network that want to perhaps preview things from the privacy of their own offices in Los Angeles or New York or in their homes.
Right.
So I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
if we're going to do like live stream and give people their own like personal codes, and the live stream comes on for like an elimination, say for instance. They can see
Right.
that when you close the live stream and after the elimination is over.
Right. And all the breakout rooms and Zoom, you see that a lot too. Go to breakout and a whole group of people will be invited. They have like the Zoom DJ. That's the new position now. A Zoom. And they're like, okay, these people need to go into a room to a breakout, and they'll type it up and create the room. So they go into the breakout and then they come back. The director will go talk to talent there. A story producer talk to talent. Story producer talk to other producers,
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe the video village won't be so crowded now, but who knows? That usually is like people just want to be on set,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole wireless, we've been using that wireless video village kind of thing where, they'll hook my cell phone up or my iPad to the DIT setup. And obviously the sound becomes, a similar goal.
Right.
So that person listening to their cell phone or their whatever. And you have quality control, but at least I can, or somebody else can listen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that Zoom DJ thing. That's a whole new job, right?
Yeah, it's a whole new job. So if you're proficient with Zoom,
Yeah.
It's like you just gotta create rooms, read the conversations and create rooms. Almost like a person, specifically like a walkie person, sending out different channels on walkie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So we need to wrap up in a little bit, unless you have specific things you want to add. Ezekiel, you got specific questions you want to add or suggest? Aaron, anybody? Yeah.
I just want to say to everyone in Lagos, all the mixers in Lagos who will watch this or who are watching now, stay safe. I'm here on WhatsApp. These was it Gotham Sound and True Audio and all these sound places that I usually get my sound gear from. They're starting to have more appointments throughout the day. You have to make an appointment now to get there. So, please keep sending your requests on what you guys need, and I'll do my best to get it out to you. And, just remember what I said. Talk to set with confidence and also safety.
Okay, thanks.
Very good.
Yeah.
Aaron Burns. Ezekiel, I saw you put your contact info in the chat. Aaron Burns, how do people reach you? Email, phone, social media, whatever works for you, sir.
Yes, sure.
I don't know if you guys have WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is probably the best, or one of the best contacts for mixers and apps to reach out. WhatsApp is very popular. So if you have a WhatsApp account, please post.
Ezekiel, anything you want to add before we take off?
No, nothing.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ezekiel. Happy sailing, man.
Thank you.
Yes. And Aaron, thank you guys, man. It's good to see y'all, man. Thank you so much.
And
Yeah, if you have the contact information, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always trying to do something. So please, let's stay in the loop. let's keep sharing that information. Knowledge is power, right? So keep
Power.
going. Stay safe.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, you can reach,
Yeah, and love to do this again if you guys, want to just pass around information. I'm all about that. So thank you for having me on.
Aaron Burns, and we're glad to have you. Aaron, what do you do? Tell me, I don't know if we did an intro to you.
Oh, for me, I'm a utility. I also do boom operator, but my main position is utility.
Okay. And you're based in New York or Atlanta, or where are you?
I'm in Atlanta with Paul.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Well, thank you for contributing. All right, so there. Ezekiel, we're out. Peace and love.
Thanks,
Aaron,
Christian.
thank you
Thanks,
very
man.
much.
Peace.
Paul Reed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. All right, cool.
Always good to see you.
Okay. All right, peace.